The alien ship Starweaver moved through the dark space between stars like a silver needle through black cloth. Captain Vextar stood on the bridge, his forearms crossed behind his back as he watched the stars through the main screen. The Zalithian commander had been exploring this sector for 3 months, looking for anything valuable to bring back to his homeworld. "Captain," called out his science officer from across the bridge, "we are picking up something strange on the sensors." Vextar turned his large head toward the younger Zalithian. "What kind of strange, Killmoth?" The science officer's tentacles danced over his control panel. "It looks like a ship, sir, but it is not moving. No power readings, no life signs. It appears to be dead in space." This was interesting. Dead ships often meant salvage, and salvage meant profit. Vextar walked over to look at the sensor readings himself. The ship was definitely there, floating in the emptiness about 2 million kilometers away. "What kind of ship is it?" Vextar asked. Killmoth worked at his controls for a few more seconds. "The computer says it matches human design, Captain. But that cannot be right. The humans disappeared from this part of space many years ago." Vextar felt a chill run through his purple skin. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories about humans. They were a young race that had appeared suddenly about 50 years ago. They built strange ships and fought with unusual tactics. Then, just as quickly as they had appeared, they vanished. No one had seen a human ship in over 20 years. "Are you certain it is human?" Vextar asked. "The computer is 97% sure, Captain. The hull design matches old records we have of human ships. But this one is bigger than any human vessel we have on file." Vextar thought about this. A human ship floating dead in space could contain technology worth millions of credits. The humans had always been mysterious. Their ships used power sources that no other race could understand. Their weapons were different from anything else in the galaxy. If they could salvage even small pieces of human technology, it would make this entire mission worthwhile. "Move us closer," Vextar ordered. "But keep our weapons ready. Dead ships can sometimes be dangerous." The Starweaver changed course toward the mysterious vessel. As they got closer, the human ship became visible on the main screen. It was indeed large, maybe twice the size of Vextar's own ship. The hull was dark gray, almost black, and covered with strange angles and surfaces that seemed to bend light in odd ways. "Captain," Killmoth said, his voice full of excitement, "I am reading damage to the hull. Blast marks from energy weapons. Holes that look like they were made by missiles. This ship was in a big fight." Vextar studied the image on the screen. The human ship did look like it had been through a battle. Burn marks ran along its sides. Several sections of the hull were torn open, showing dark spaces inside. But something felt wrong about it. The damage looked too neat, too organized. "Any idea how long it has been floating here?" Vextar asked. "Hard to say, Captain. Maybe a few months, maybe longer. The metal shows signs of exposure to space radiation, but not too much." Vextar made his decision. "Prepare a boarding party. 6 soldiers and 2 technicians. Full combat gear and scanning equipment. We are going to take a look inside that ship." "Yes, Captain," replied his security chief, a large Zalithian named Krathvan. "Should we try to contact them first?" "No. Life signs, remember," Vextar said. "Whatever happened to that ship, everyone on board is probably dead." Deep inside the human ship, Captain Jake Murphy watched the alien vessel approach on his screens. He was a tall man with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had been waiting in this spot for 2 months, his ship powered down to almost nothing, waiting for exactly this moment. "They are taking the bait," he said quietly to his communications officer, Lisa Turner. She was a young woman with red hair tied back in a tight ponytail. "Their sensors show we are dead in space," Lisa replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "All life signs are masked. Power signature is at minimum levels. They think we are a derelict." Murphy nodded. The Silent Hunter was not a normal human ship. It was built for one purpose: to hunt. Not animals or resources, but information. The ship was designed to look like it had been destroyed in battle. The damage on the hull was fake, carefully created, to fool alien sensors. The power systems could be turned down so low that they appeared to be offline. Even the crew's life signs could be hidden using special technology. "How many aliens on their ship?" Murphy asked. Sensors show 43 life forms, answered Amy Carter, his tactical officer. She was a small woman with dark hair and sharp, green eyes. Standard Zilithian exploration vessel, light weapons, basic shields. They are not expecting a fight. Murphy had been hunting Zilithians for 3 years. He knew their ships, their weapons, their tactics. He also knew their weaknesses. Zilithians were curious by nature. They could not resist investigating anything that might be valuable. That curiosity made them easy to trap. They are launching a shuttle, Lisa reported. 8 aliens on board. Full boarding party with weapons and scanning gear. Perfect, Murphy said. Amy, make sure all blast doors are ready. Ben, is the ship's computer ready to play dead? Ben Hayes, their technology specialist, nodded from his station. He was a thin man with glasses and quick fingers. All systems are ready, Captain. When they board, I can control what they see and where they go. Murphy looked around at his crew. There were only 12 of them on the Silent Hunter, but they were all experts. Each one had been chosen for this mission because they were the best at what they did. They had been hiding in space for weeks, waiting for the right target. The alien shuttle was getting closer. Soon the Zilithians would board their ship, thinking they were exploring a dead human vessel. They would be looking for technology to steal or sell. Instead, they would walk into a trap that had been months in the making. Murphy watched the shuttle approach and smiled. The hunt was about to begin. The Zilithian shuttle attached to the side of the human ship with a soft clang. Security Chief Krathven checked his weapon one more time before stepping through the airlock. His purple skin felt cold despite his thick armor. Something about this dead ship made him nervous. Stay close together, he told his boarding party. Watch for unstable sections and radiation leaks. Dead ships can be full of surprises. The airlock opened into a dark corridor. Emergency lights flickered weakly along the walls, casting strange shadows everywhere. The air smelled stale and metallic. Krathven activated his scanner and checked the atmosphere. Air is breathable, he announced. Temperature is normal. Gravity systems are still working. Behind him, the 2 technicians began scanning the walls with their equipment. The technology here is definitely human, said one of them. But it is more advanced than anything in our records. These power conduits are using materials we do not recognize. Krathven nodded and started walking down the corridor. His boots made hollow sounds on the metal floor. The human ship was much bigger inside than it looked from outside. The corridors were wide and tall, built for beings larger than Zilithians. Everything was painted in dark colors that seemed to absorb the weak light. The bridge should be this way, said the second technician, checking his scanner. I am picking up computer systems 3 levels up. They moved through the ship slowly and carefully. Each room they passed was empty, but clean. There were no bodies, no signs of fighting, no bloodstains. It was as if everyone on the ship had simply vanished. This is strange, Krathven muttered. If this ship was attacked, where are the crew bodies? Where are the signs of battle inside the ship? One of his soldiers pointed to scorch marks on a wall. Here, Chief. Looks like weapon fire. Krathven examined the marks. They did look like energy weapon burns, but something was wrong about them. The burns were too neat, too even. Real weapon fire in a corridor fight would be messy and random. These marks looked almost decorative. Deep in the ship's hidden control room, Amy Carter watched the aliens move through the corridors on her screens. She had cameras everywhere, and the Zilithians had no idea they were being watched. Every step they took was being recorded and analyzed. They are buying it so far, she whispered to Captain Murphy. But their security chief is smart. He is starting to notice things. Murphy nodded. That is why we chose Zilithians. They are intelligent enough to be useful, but curious enough to walk into traps. How much longer until they reach the central hub? About 10 minutes at their current pace, Amy replied. They are being very careful. Good. The more time they spend inside, the more committed they become. Ben, are you ready? With the isolation protocol? Ben Hayes looked up from his computer screens. All blast doors are armed and ready. I can seal them into separate sections whenever you give the word. The psychological warfare systems are also online. Murphy had spent months planning this trap. The Silent Hunter was not just disguised as a battle-damaged ship. It was designed to be a perfect prison. Hidden blast doors could seal off sections of the ship in seconds. The life support systems could be controlled to create discomfort without causing death. Even the lighting could be adjusted to cause stress and confusion in different alien species. Lisa Turner monitored the Zilithian ship outside. Their captain is getting nervous. He keeps trying to contact the boarding party, but they are still responding normally. No suspicion yet. The boarding party reached a large room near the center of the ship. It was filled with computer stations and control panels, all dark and silent. The Zilithians spread out to examine different sections. "This must be some kind of command center," said one of the technicians. "Look at all this equipment. If we can get these computers working, they might contain star charts, weapon designs, maybe even the location of human colonies." Crathvin was examining a large chair that was obviously meant for the ship's captain. It was built for someone much taller than any Zilithian. The armrest had control panels built into them, and the whole chair was surrounded by screens and displays. "The humans were definitely larger than us," he said. "This chair is built for someone at least 2 meters tall." "Chief," called one of his soldiers from across the room, "I found something interesting. These wall panels are not solid. My scanner shows empty spaces behind them like hidden passages." Crathvin walked over to examine the wall. His scanner confirmed what the soldier had found. There were definitely hollow spaces behind the walls, and some of them were large enough for a person to move through. "Secret passages in the walls," he muttered. "Why would a military ship need hidden corridors?" In those hidden passages, human crew members moved silently through the ship's superstructure. Amy Carter crawled through a maintenance tunnel that ran directly above the command center where the aliens were exploring. She could hear their voices through the thin metal above her head. 2 other crew members, Carl Brooks and Tom Bradley, were positioning themselves at key points throughout the ship. They carried special weapons designed specifically for capturing Zilithians alive. Stunning them was more useful than killing them, because dead aliens could not answer questions. "All teams in position," Amy whispered into her communication device. "The aliens are exactly where we want them." Murphy watched his screens as the Zilithians continued to explore the command center. They were fascinated by the human technology, completely focused on their discovery. Perfect. The more interested they became, the less attention they paid to their surroundings. "Execute," Murphy said quietly. Ben Hayes pressed a series of buttons on his control panel. Throughout the ship, blast doors slammed shut with loud metallic bangs. The aliens were suddenly separated into 4 different groups, trapped in different sections of the ship. At the same time, the ship's lighting changed from soft white to deep red. The color was specifically chosen because it caused anxiety in Zilithian nervous systems. Hidden speakers began playing low-frequency sounds that human ears could not hear, but which made Zilithians feel uncomfortable and confused. "What is happening?" Crathvin shouted, running toward the door they had entered through. It was sealed shut with no visible way to open it. His scanner showed the door was locked by some kind of electronic system. The other aliens tried their own doors and found the same thing. They were trapped in separate rooms with no way to communicate with each other. Their radios only picked up static. "This is not possible," one of the technicians said, his voice shaking. "The ship was dead. There was no power, no life signs." "We have been tricked," Crathvin said grimly. "This ship was never dead. We walked into a trap." On the bridge of their own ship, Captain Vexstar was trying desperately to contact his boarding party. "Crathvin, respond. What is your status?" But there was no answer. The human ship had suddenly come alive with power signatures and electronic activity. Whatever was happening over there, his people were in serious trouble. Murphy's voice echoed through the trapped ship's communication system. "Welcome aboard the Silent Hunter. Your exploration mission has just become something very different." Captain Murphy's voice filled every corner of the trapped ship. The speakers were built into the walls and ceiling, making it impossible to tell where the sound was coming from. His words echoed in the red-lit corridors where the Zilithians stood, frozen in shock. "I am Captain Jake Murphy of the human vessel Silent Hunter. You are now prisoners aboard a ship that was designed specifically to hunt your species. Krathvin pressed himself against the sealed door and shouted back, "This is impossible. Human ships disappeared from this sector 20 years ago. Your people are gone." Murphy's laugh was cold and quiet. "Gone? No, Security Chief Krathvin. We never left. We just learned to hide better. We learned to be patient. We learned to hunt." In the ship's hidden control room, Lisa Turner was working at her communication station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panels as she tracked every signal coming from the Zilithian ship outside. Each time Captain Vextar tried to send a distress call, she blocked it with powerful jamming signals. "Their captain is trying to contact other Zilithian ships in this sector," Lisa reported. "I am stopping all of his transmissions. No one knows they are here." Murphy nodded. "How long before other ships come looking for them?" "According to their patrol schedule, they have 6 days before anyone expects them to report in. We have plenty of time." On the Zilithian ship, Captain Vexistar was becoming desperate. His communication systems showed that messages were being sent, but he was getting no replies from anyone. The human ship was somehow blocking all signals leaving the area. "Engineering," he called out. "Can we break away from that ship?" "Negative, Captain," came the reply. "They have some kind of magnetic clamps holding us in place. And, sir, they are scanning us. Deep scans of our computer systems, our weapons, everything." Vextar felt his heart beating faster. The humans were not just holding his boarding party prisoner. They were studying his entire ship, learning everything about Zilithian technology and military capabilities. Back on the Silent Hunter, Carl Brooks was preparing his special equipment. He was the ship's weapons specialist, but his weapons were not designed to kill. They were designed to capture and control. The neural disruptor arrays had been built after years of studying captured Zilithian brain patterns. "The neural disruptors are ready, Captain," Carl reported. "These frequencies will make them confused and cooperative without causing permanent damage. We can keep them conscious but unable to think clearly." Murphy studied the screens showing the trapped aliens. They were trying to find ways to escape, but there were none. Every door, every panel, every possible exit had been planned for. The Silent Hunter was a perfect prison. "Begin Phase 2, Murphy ordered. Ben Hayes activated the next level of psychological warfare. The red lights began to pulse slowly like a heartbeat. The low-frequency sounds changed to patterns that made Zilithians feel afraid. Hidden vents began releasing a gas that was harmless to humans but would make the aliens feel dizzy and uncertain. "What are you doing to us?" Krathvin demanded, his voice shaking as the gas began to affect him. "We are learning," Murphy replied, through the speakers. "For 50 years, other species have attacked human colonies. They have stolen our technology, enslaved our people, destroyed our ships. We decided it was time to understand our enemies better." In one of the sealed sections, the 2 Zilithian technicians were trying to access the human computer systems. But every time they tried to connect their scanners, the computers fought back. Strange programs invaded their equipment, stealing information while giving nothing in return. "The computers are alive," one technician whispered to the other. "They are not just defending themselves, they are attacking our scanners and taking our data." The second technician looked at his equipment in horror. "My scanner has been completely compromised. It is now sending our military codes to their systems. They are learning our ship's weaknesses." Dr. Maria Santos emerged from a hidden panel in the wall near where the technicians were trapped. She was a small woman with dark hair and kind eyes, but she carried a neural disruptor weapon. The technicians backed away in fear. "Do not be afraid," she said in perfect Zilithian language. "I am Dr. Santos. I have been studying your species for 3 years. I know more about Zilithian biology than most of your own doctors." "How do you speak our language?" one of the technicians asked. "We captured a Zilithian exploration team 2 years ago," Maria replied calmly. "We learned everything about your culture, your language, your weaknesses. Then we let them go home with stories about being attacked by space pirates. They never knew they had been studied by humans." The technician's skin turned pale purple. "You have been capturing our people and studying us?" "For years," Maria confirmed. "Ships like the Silent Hunter patrol all the major trade routes. We appear as derelicts, as asteroid mining stations, as abandoned colonies. When curious aliens come to investigate, we learn everything we can about them. Tom Bradley and Pete Coleman appeared from other hidden passages surrounding the remaining groups of Zilithians. Each human carried advanced weapons and scanning equipment. They moved with the confidence of predators who had done this many times before. "How many ships like this do you have?" Krathvin asked as Tom Bradley approached his position. "Enough," Tom replied. "We have been building them for 20 years. Every time we capture a new species, we learn how to hunt them better. Your people taught us about Zilithian psychology. The Kravex taught us about energy weapons. The Ylthari showed us how to build better shields." Murphy's voice came through the speakers again. "You see, Security Chief, humans learned something important about survival. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the fastest or the smartest, but we are the best at adapting. We watch. We learn. We become what we need to become." Susan Clark, the ship's navigator, was at her station plotting new courses. She had identified 17 Zilithian military bases within 50 light-years of their current position. Other Silent Hunter-class ships were already moving toward those targets, ready to deploy more hunting missions. "The Zilithian Empire thinks they control this sector," Susan said to Murphy. "But we have been watching them for months. We know where their bases are, how many ships they have, what their patrol routes look like. They have no idea how exposed they are." Captain Vexistar was still trying desperately to break free from the human ship. His weapons could not penetrate the strange hull material. His engines could not overcome the magnetic clamps. Even his emergency systems were being controlled by the human computers. "Sir," his engineer reported, "they are inside our computer systems now. They are downloading everything. Ship designs, star charts, military codes, colony locations. They are taking all of our data." Vextar closed his eyes in despair. The humans were not just capturing his boarding party. They were stealing the secrets of the entire Zilithian Empire. This one encounter would give the humans enough information to plan attacks on every important Zilithian target in the sector. Murphy watched his screens as his crew continued their work. The trapped aliens were becoming more cooperative as the neural disruptors affected their thinking. Soon, they would be ready for detailed questioning, and their ship's computer systems had already given up thousands of valuable secrets. "The hunt is going very well," he said to his crew. "Begin preparing the interrogation chambers. We have a lot to learn from our new guests." Dr. Maria Santos walked slowly through the corridors of the Silent Hunter, carrying a small device that looked like a medical scanner. The trapped Zilithians watched her with growing fear as she approached each group. Her movements were calm and professional, like a doctor making rounds in a hospital. "I need to take some readings from each of you," she said in their language. "This will not hurt, but it will help me understand your current stress levels." "Stay away from us," shouted one of the Zilithian soldiers. "We will not cooperate with your experiments." Maria smiled sadly. "You already are cooperating. Every breath you take in this atmosphere tells me about your lung capacity. Every word you speak gives me information about your stress responses. Your skin color changes show me your emotional state. You cannot hide from science." She had been studying Zilithian biology for 3 years. Ever since the first hunting mission had brought her live specimens, she knew exactly how their nervous systems worked, what chemicals their brains produced under stress, and how to manipulate their emotional states. The scanner in her hands was recording everything: heart rates, brainwave patterns, hormone levels, muscle tension. All of this data would be compared with information from hundreds of other Zilithians that human ships had captured over the years. "Your people have a weakness," Maria continued, moving her scanner over the nearest alien. "Zilithians are very social creatures. You need to be part of a group to feel safe. When you are separated and alone, your minds start to break down." Security Chief Tom Bradley appeared from a hidden passage behind the trapped soldiers. He moved like a ghost, making no sound on the metal floor. His stealth suit bent light around his body, making him nearly invisible. Only when he chose to be seen did the aliens notice him. "How long have you been there?" Krathvin demanded. "I have been watching you for the past 10 minutes, Tom replied. You looked directly at me 3 times but did not see me. Human stealth technology is far beyond anything your people have developed. Tom's team had perfected the art of psychological warfare over many hunting missions. They would appear and disappear around captured aliens, never letting them feel safe or secure. The constant threat of unseen humans watching them broke down their mental defenses faster than any torture. "We know you are there now," said one of the Zilithian technicians, trying to sound brave. Tom smiled and activated his stealth field. He vanished completely, becoming invisible to Zilithian eyes. But his voice still came from somewhere nearby. "Do you? Are you sure? How many of us are in this room with you right now?" The aliens looked around frantically, but they could see nothing. Tom could be anywhere, or there could be 5 humans standing right next to them. The uncertainty was driving them to panic. In the ship's hidden control center, Ben Hayes was working on his favorite part of the operation. He was inside the Zilithian computer systems now, moving through their data like a ghost through walls. 20 years of studying alien technology had made him an expert at breaking into any computer system in the galaxy. "I have access to their military database," Ben reported to Captain Murphy. "Ship designs, weapon specifications, fleet deployment, schedules. Everything we need to plan operations against Zilithian military targets." Murphy nodded. "What about their psychology profiles? Do they have information about how their own people think and react?" "Even better," Ben said with satisfaction. "They have detailed studies of their own weaknesses. Their military psychologists have identified exactly what Zilithians fear most, what breaks their morale, what makes them surrender. They did our job for us." The information was being transmitted to other human hunter ships throughout the galaxy. Within hours, dozens of human commanders would have detailed plans for capturing Zilithian vessels and breaking down their crew's resistance. Captain Vextar was becoming more desperate by the hour. His boarding party had been silent for too long. His ship's computers were being invaded by human programs that he could not stop. Even his emergency beacon was not working. "Engineering, can you overload the power core?" he asked his crew. "If we cannot escape, maybe we can take them with us." "Negative, Captain," came the reply. "They have taken control of our safety systems. I cannot even access the power core controls anymore. The humans are running our ship better than we are." Vextar felt his hope dying. The humans had planned for everything. Every possible escape route was blocked. Every weapon was neutralized. Every system was compromised. It was like fighting an enemy that could see the future. Back on the human ship, Pete Coleman was preparing the interrogation chambers. As the ship's engineer, he had designed special rooms that could be adjusted for different alien species. The temperature, lighting, air pressure, and sound could all be controlled precisely. "The chambers are ready," Pete reported. "I have set up different environments for each prisoner. The security chief gets a room that makes him feel claustrophobic. The technicians get isolation chambers that will make them desperate for social contact. The soldiers get rooms with constant low-level noise that will prevent them from sleeping. Each chamber was designed based on years of studying Zilithian psychology. Humans had learned that different types of Zilithians had different breaking points. Military officers like Krathvin were trained to resist physical torture, but they could not handle feeling trapped in small spaces. Technical specialists needed mental stimulation and would cooperate in exchange for interesting problems to solve. Amy Carter was monitoring the aliens' stress levels from her tactical station. "They are reaching the breaking point," she told Murphy. "Another few hours of this treatment and they will be ready to answer any questions we ask." "Excellent," Murphy replied. "Have Dr. Santos prepare the cooperation drugs. Once we have them in the interrogation chambers, we can begin extracting detailed information about Zilithian military operations." The cooperation drugs were another human innovation. They did not force aliens to tell the truth, but they made them want to please their captors. Combined with the psychological pressure, they were incredibly effective at getting information. Maria Santos was already preparing the drug cocktails. Each one was mixed specifically for Zilithian brain chemistry. The drugs would make the aliens feel friendly and talkative, without making them suspicious about why they felt that way. The interesting thing about Zilithians Maria explained to her assistant, Nurse Kate Williams, is that they have a strong need to be helpful. If you make them feel like they are part of a team working on an important project, they will tell you anything you want to know. Kate nodded as she prepared the injection devices. So we make them think they are helping us with scientific research? Exactly. We tell them we are studying galactic history, or mapping trade routes, or researching alien cultures for peaceful contact. They want to believe that humans are not their enemies, so they convince themselves that cooperation is the right thing to do. The Zilithians in their sealed chambers were getting weaker by the hour. The constant stress, the strange environment, and the psychological pressure were wearing down their resistance. Some of them were already talking to themselves, which meant their minds were starting to crack. Murphy watched his prisoners on the security monitors. Soon they would be moved to the interrogation chambers, where human experts would extract every piece of useful information from their minds. Then they would be released back to their people with false memories of what had happened to them. Begin moving them to the interrogation chambers, Murphy ordered. The hunt has been successful. Now we begin the harvest. Pete Coleman opened the sealed door to the first interrogation chamber with a soft hiss. Inside, Security Chief Crathvin sat in a chair that was too small for his body, making him feel cramped and uncomfortable. The room was painted white and filled with bright lights that hurt Zilithian eyes. "Good morning," Pete said in a friendly voice, speaking perfect Zilithian. "I hope you slept well." Crathvin had not slept at all. The room had been filled with quiet sounds all night. Nothing loud enough to be called torture, but constant enough to prevent rest. His mind felt foggy and tired. "What do you want from us?" Crathvin asked. Pete sat down across from him and smiled. "We want to talk. We want to learn about your people, your culture, your history. Humans are very curious about other species. You are holding us prisoner. You invaded our ships. Computers, this is not curiosity, this is an act of war." Pete shook his head sadly. "War? No, my friend. War is what your people declared on humanity 50 years ago when you attacked our first colony ships. War is what the Kravex Empire did when they enslaved human miners. War is what the Yilthari Federation did when they stole our technology and claimed it as their own." Crathvin felt confused. The drugs in the air were making it hard to think clearly. "The Zilithian Empire never attacked human colonies. We are a peaceful exploration society." "Are you?" Pete asked, pulling out a data pad. "According to your own ship's computer, the Zilithian Third Fleet attacked a human transport convoy in the Kepler system 3 years ago. 17 human ships were destroyed. Over 4,000 colonists were killed." The security chief stared at the datapad. The information was there in official Zilithian military records, but something was wrong. He could not remember any order to attack human ships. "That must be a mistake," Crathvin said weakly. Pete leaned forward. "What if I told you that humans have been recording everything for 20 years? Every attack, every theft, every act of aggression against our people. We have detailed records of crimes committed by 47 different alien species." In another interrogation chamber, Dr. Maria Santos was talking with one of the Zilithian technicians. This room was painted in soft colors and filled with comfortable furniture. Classical music played quietly in the background. "You are a computer specialist?" Maria said to the technician. "You must appreciate good technology when you see it. What do you think of our ship's systems?" The technician, whose name was Keltash, looked around nervously. "Your computers are very advanced. More advanced than anything in Zilithian space. How did you develop such technology so quickly?" Maria smiled. "We had good teachers. Every species we have encountered has taught us something new. The Zilithians taught us about sensor technology. The Kravex showed us energy weapon designs. The Yilthari helped us understand shield systems." "You mean you stole the technology?" Keltash said. "Borrowed," Maria corrected. "When someone attacks you and tries to destroy your people, taking their technology is not stealing. It is survival." She showed him a holographic display that filled the room with images. Star charts, ship designs, weapon specifications, colony layouts. All of it was Zilithian technology, but improved and enhanced by human engineering. We took your designs and made them better, Maria continued. Human creativity combined with alien knowledge. The results have been quite impressive. Keltash stared at the images in shock. These are military secrets. How did you get access to classified Zilithian databases? The same way we got access to your current ship's computers, Maria replied. Human hackers are very good at their job. We have been inside Zilithian military networks for years. We know about every ship movement, every base construction project, every new weapon development. Captain Murphy was in the main control room, coordinating with other human ships throughout the galaxy. On his screens, he could see dozens of similar operations taking place. Hunter ships were capturing alien vessels, extracting information, and coordinating attacks on military targets. Report from the Ghost Walker, Lisa Turner announced. They have successfully infiltrated a Kravex supply depot. All personnel captured, computer systems compromised. Excellent, Murphy replied. What about the Shadow Strike? They are in position near the Yiltari home system, ready to begin intelligence gathering operations on their orbital defense platforms. Murphy nodded with satisfaction. 20 years of patient hunting were finally paying off. Human ships were positioned throughout known space, ready to strike at the heart of every major alien empire simultaneously. Amy Carter was analyzing data from the interrogations. The Zilithians have revealed the locations of 43 military bases, she reported. They also provided access codes for their communication networks and detailed information about their alliance agreements with other species. How are they holding up under questioning? Murphy asked. Better than most species, but not well enough. The combination of psychological pressure and cooperation drugs is working perfectly. They want to help us now. They think they are contributing to peaceful scientific research. In the third interrogation chamber, Tom Bradley was talking with the remaining Zilithian soldiers. This room was designed to look like a friendly meeting space, with soft chairs and warm lighting. Your empire has made a serious mistake, Tom told them. You assumed that humans were weak because we withdrew from contested space. You thought we were cowards who ran away from fights. One of the soldiers, a young Zilithian named Vectar, looked up. Were you not running away? Tom laughed. We were learning. Every time your people attacked us, we studied your tactics. Every time you captured our ships, we analyzed how you did it. Every time you thought you had won a victory, you were actually teaching us how to defeat you. He activated a holographic projector that showed the locations of human hunter ships throughout the galaxy. There were hundreds of them, hidden among asteroids, disguised as derelict vessels, positioned at every major trade route and military checkpoint. This is the human response to 20 years of alien aggression. Tom continued. We did not build a bigger fleet. We did not construct more powerful weapons. We built a network of invisible ships that can strike anywhere at any time. The soldiers stared at the display in horror. The humans had not been defeated. They had been planning the largest military operation in galactic history. Captain Vextar was still trapped on his own ship, watching helplessly as human programs took control of every system. His engineering crew had been locked out of their own computers. His weapons were offline. His communication systems were transmitting false reports to Zilithian Command. Sir, his communications officer reported, I am receiving messages from other Zilithian ships in the sector. They are reporting similar encounters with derelict human vessels. Ships are going missing throughout our territory. Vextar felt his blood turn cold. This was not just one isolated incident. It was a coordinated attack on the entire Zilithian Empire, and probably on every other major power in the galaxy. Ben Hayes was coordinating the computer warfare from his station. I have established connections with 17 other Zilithian ships, he reported to Murphy. Their computers are now under human control. We can monitor their movements and intercept their communications without them knowing. Murphy smiled. The hunt had been even more successful than planned. Not only had they captured valuable prisoners and intelligence, but they had also gained control of multiple enemy vessels. Begin Phase 3, Murphy ordered. It is time to reveal the true scope of human operations to our guests. I think they are ready to understand what they are really facing. Captain Murphy walked into the main interrogation chamber where all the Zilithian prisoners had been brought together. They sat around a large table, looking tired and confused. The cooperation drugs and psychological pressure had worked perfectly. They no longer saw him as an enemy, but as someone they wanted to please. "I have something important to show you," Murphy said, activating the room's holographic projector. "You have been very helpful in our research, and I think you deserve to understand what you have been contributing to." The room filled with a three-dimensional map of the entire galaxy. Thousands of points of light marked the locations of planets, space stations, and trade routes. But what made the Zilithians gasp was the network of red dots scattered throughout known space. Each red dot represents a human hunter ship, Murphy explained. Ships like the Silent Hunter, disguised as derelicts, mining stations, research vessels, or cargo haulers. "We have been building this network for 20 years. Security Chief Krathvin stared at the display in shock. There were hundreds of red dots, maybe thousands. They were positioned at every major trade route, near every important military base, around every heavily populated system. "This is impossible," Krathvin whispered. "There are not enough humans in the galaxy to crew so many ships." Murphy smiled. "You are thinking like an alien military commander. You assume we need large crews and massive fleets. But human ships are different. Each hunter vessel has only 10 to 15 crew members, all specialists. We use advanced automation and artificial intelligence to do the work that other species need hundreds of people for." Dr. Maria Santos stepped forward. "We also learned something important about survival. While other species were building bigger ships and stronger weapons, we focused on information and patience. Knowledge is more powerful than any energy cannon." The holographic display changed to show real-time intelligence feeds from across the galaxy. Ship movements, military communications, resource transfers, diplomatic meetings. Everything was being monitored and recorded by the human network. "Right now," Murphy continued, "we are watching 17 different alien fleets conducting what they think are secret military exercises. We know the location of every major weapon shipment in Kravex space. We have complete intelligence on Yilthari defense plans for their core worlds." One of the Zilithian technicians, Keltash, looked up with growing horror. "You have been spying on everyone for 20 years? "Not spying," corrected Amy Carter as she joined them. "Learning, preparing. When you are outnumbered 1,000 to 1, you cannot win through direct confrontation. You win through superior intelligence and perfect timing." The display showed another view: human settlements scattered throughout the galaxy. But these were not the obvious colonies that other species knew about. They were hidden bases, research stations, and shipyards built inside asteroids, gas giant moons, and deep space construction facilities. "This is where we really went when we disappeared from known space," Murphy explained. "We built a secret civilization. While alien empires fought each other for territory and resources, we were developing new technologies and training new generations of specialists." Pete Coleman activated another section of the display. "We also learned from every species we encountered: Zilithian sensor technology, Kravex energy weapons, Yilthari shield systems, Drakmari faster-than-light communications. We took the best from everyone and improved on it." The room filled with images of human technology that was decades ahead of anything the aliens had. Ships that could become completely invisible, weapons that could disable entire fleets without destroying them, computer systems that could take control of alien networks in seconds. "The cooperation drugs you have been given," Dr. Santos added, "were developed from studying Zilithian brain chemistry. The psychological warfare techniques we used on you were perfected through interactions with dozens of different species. Everything we know we learned from our enemies." Tom Bradley stepped out of the shadows where he had been standing invisible. The Zilithians jumped in surprise, even though they had been sitting in the room with him for several minutes. "This is why we are revealing everything to you now," Tom said. "You are going to return to your people and tell them what you have seen. You are going to be our ambassadors." Krathvin felt his mind struggling to understand. "You are letting us go?" "Of course," Murphy replied. "Dead aliens cannot deliver messages, but live aliens who have experienced human capabilities firsthand make very convincing witnesses." Lisa Turner was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. "Captain, I am receiving reports from other operations. The Night Stalker has successfully demonstrated human capabilities to a Kravex battle group. The Void Hunter has educated a Yilthari exploration fleet about our technology. All targets are responding as predicted." Murphy nodded. "Excellent. Phase 4 is proceeding on schedule." The holographic display changed again, showing the current positions of major alien fleets throughout the galaxy. Every single one was surrounded by hidden human ships that had been watching and waiting for years. "What you are seeing," Murphy explained to the stunned aliens, "is the result of 20 years of patient preparation. Every major military force in the galaxy is currently under observation by human hunter ships. Every important leader, every strategic resource, every defensive position is known to us." Ben Hayes activated his station, showing the aliens how deeply human programs had penetrated their computer systems. "We control the communications networks of 47 different species. We can monitor their messages, redirect their signals, or shut down their systems entirely whenever we choose." The Zelithian prisoners sat in shocked silence as the full scope of human operations became clear. They had thought they were dealing with one lost ship. Instead, they had encountered the most sophisticated intelligence and military network in galactic history. "Why are you telling us this?" asked one of the soldiers. "Why reveal your secrets?" Murphy's expression became serious. "Because the time for secrets is ending. For 20 years, alien species have attacked human colonies, enslaved human populations, and stolen human technology. They thought we were weak prey that could be easily conquered." The display showed images of destroyed human settlements, captured human ships, and documentation of crimes committed against human civilians by various alien empires. "We tried peaceful contact," Amy Carter added. "We offered trade, cultural exchange, and mutual cooperation. The response was always the same: violence, theft, and conquest. So we adapted. We became something that alien empires could not understand or defeat." Dr. Maria Santos looked at each of the prisoners. "You are going to return to your leaders with a simple message. Humanity is offering one final chance for peaceful coexistence. Stop the attacks on human settlements. Return stolen technology and enslaved populations. Negotiate fair trade agreements." "And if our leaders refuse?" Krathovan asked, though he already suspected the answer. Murphy smiled, but his eyes were cold. "Then they will discover what happens when you hunt the hunters. Every alien military force in the galaxy is currently surrounded by human ships they cannot see, using weapons they cannot understand, guided by intelligence they cannot counter." Tom Bradley activated the final display. Throughout the galaxy, hundreds of derelict ships suddenly powered up their systems. Hidden bases revealed their weapons. Sleeper agents in alien governments activated their protocols. The entire human network came online simultaneously. "This is humanity's true response to 20 years of alien aggression," Murphy announced. "Not conquest, not destruction. Complete dominance through superior preparation and flawless execution." The Zelithian prisoners watched in awe and terror as the most sophisticated military operation in galactic history revealed itself. They finally understood that they had not discovered a lost human ship. They had been caught by the ultimate predators of space. "Welcome to the new galactic order," Murphy said quietly. "We hope your leaders choose wisdom over pride."